So, welcome. First of all, I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Mason Young. I am the director at the Museum of Art and Digital Entertainment. We're a lovely museum up in Oakland. I'll get back to that at some final slides here. And I truly, absolutely vibe with what's happening here at Music and Games West. Super amazing. Music, art, games, music, anime games, music, everything. Games, I love it. And so I decided we will do an any percent speed run through through how we play games, and augmented by some digital entertainment artifacts. So, one of the first games that has a control that can be considered a game. There's a bit of arguments what's the first video game and what's the first just game. But we're just going to talk about stuff. So, if you have questions, you want to get into the gritty facts and stuff, come talk to me. We'll do that. But we're going to start flying through because we will have a press for time here. So, 1958, tennis for two. We just got a button and a knob. We probably had buttons and knobs everywhere, so you use what you have. That's going to be a reoccurring theme, right? You see what you have out in the world, and you use it. And so, yeah, and the screen was an oscilloscope. That's another example of that, but we're not going to talk about displays. That would be a lot. I would need a lot more slides. Okay, and then we have Space War and the control box. We don't actually have any pictures of what the original Space Force controller looks like. There's replications, and at CHM they have some controllers. They're also replicas. They look a little bit better than this one. I couldn't find a picture of the one at Computer History Museum, so definitely go and check that out. But this is the one from the original article about the game itself, as someone reported on it. And yeah, it's, again, what we would see. So it's these articulated, what would those be called? Levers that re-neutral themselves. So then we have Computer Space. Computer Space by Nutting was an early pre-Atari Nolan Bushnell game. It was really inspired by the previous game that we saw, Space War. It had two complex controls, though, for an early arcade machine. And so we would see the simplification and the creation of Atari. And now we just have the knob again, right? We already knew what knobs do. We adjust our oven and stuff. And yeah, two-player. You're also putting in coins. That's the kind of way that's being interacted, but not really control. You are controlling your choice to choose to play the game, I guess. All right, and now we've made it to console gaming. Welcome to the MAGNavox Odyssey. I mentioned before this could be the brown box. It has a very similar control since it is essentially the same thing. We'd also see overlays on the screen for this that would help it. But this controller is really cool, and it is one that you can come up and touch. It has this reset button that redraws the ball back towards the players, and it has a knob inside of the knob you see on the left side on the big picture there. That one adjusts the spin on the ball, and like a wizard, you can do it in the middle of your swing, so you can control the ball after you've hit it, which I'm sure lots of professional sports players would like to do that. MAGNavox Odyssey Shooting Gallery was another thing. Early light guns. Light guns and electromechanical games actually are another way of moving into what would eventually be video games as we know it. And of course, the MAGNavox Odyssey had an early light gun. Grand Track 10 would be the first time we saw a steering wheel used for play. Pretty incredible game. I believe this is over at Museum Mécanique if you want to check one out. The Pong C100 was the first commercial success for home. The knob, there we go again. Right, and we have our friend the Switch there, and then a little button press too. That's all it takes. The APF TV Fun decided to, spin off the classic Pong. They have the knob too. You can also see the knob on the television, or as they would call it, the dial, right? Don't turn that dial. And we have those switches again and more knobs to adjust to add more complexity to the game play itself. So we're seeing the evolution of the games along with the controllers now too. Fairchild Channel F, this is truly a leap in controlling. This thing is a plunger. You can pull it up, you can push it down. You can steer it left and right. It has an X and Y axis too. Wow, this thing is jam-packed full of stuff. Problems, controllers are typically connected to the systems at the time. I found this picture and I'm very confused about it because I have not seen a Fairchild Channel F system where it is unplugged. But it's the one on Wikipedia about this controller, so very interesting. I also found somebody that was like, no, my classic retro controller is totally busted, which we'll get to in the next hour. But you don't want this guy to bust, because he's really complex inside. Like I said, you can pull him up, you can push him down, you can steer it left, right, and it has the X and Y. So you really, and then that busted, and your whole console, one controller's broken, so hopefully not player one. Also, we see on the system itself these classic press down buttons that have a a like pause timer for the game and can dial up the hockey built-in game for the system. So the systems have the controls too at this time. This is the classic 6-switch VCS from Atari, later known as the 2600. Really, really cool system. Controls are on the system too, right? Normally it's just the power button. That's what we expect. These are like game select and other stuff too, so we're controlling the game from the system, which is interesting. Later we see that with the Wii U too, I guess. But Atari classic, it's the CX40. You'll see a lot of this. One slide I definitely forgot to make, but I'll mention right now is this gets copied so much, and Atari sues a bunch of people about it, including Commodore. Commodore just like makes a total copy of it, and they're like, you can't do that. Like down to the everything except for the word Atari. So trackballs. Trackballs are really fun, I think at least. There's this game called Amazing or Irritating Maze. Check it out sometime. But the first was World Cup trackball, or well, World Cup. I don't know why. My title there is a little funny. But World Cup, soccer game using the trackball. I think that's really, really cool. And we'd see more trackballs than that. We'll have another one here soon. What is it called? Golden Tee is another really great example. The Intellivision has this like remote control dial on it. This is kind of the more what we see out in the world. TVs are starting to have remotes, and so people are used to the remote. We also have the phone, so we get that. We get this dial that actually has more articulation than many other systems, which is great, but it's kind of funky. And there's these overlays so that you know which button does what, but then your sibling rips the overlay or you lose it, and it becomes a mess. But overlays, they're cool. It's 1979. Keep that in mind, because later we're going to see overlays, and I'm going to be questioning it rather than saying it's cool. So Commodore 64, we got the C1342, which is the brown one there with the little like wrist step there, and we got the C1311. These are classic original C64 sticks. We got the Wyco. I actually don't know the pronunciation, so pardon me if I'm getting it wrong. Command control. We have the command grip up here, not the bat handle, but the bat handle is pretty nice. And then this is another trackball. It has that same pin connector, so you can attach this to like the Atari, the Master System, the Commodore 64, a bunch of stuff. So the totally accurate controller, TAC2, just another example of our arcade sticks. I had to stop myself from going even deeper into arcade sticks because there are like so many. I have some great references if you're looking into like if you want to see a lot of arcade sticks. So ColecoVision, hey look, another hand controller. This one's got a dial on it up at the top, which might be better than the one at the bottom. It also, Wyco like really realizes people don't just want to like knob things, they want this like arcade feel. So we have that too. Dial pads, they kind of look funny now. Maybe they were a little bit more good, like people liked that then. So we have the Vectrex. Vectrex's controller folds up into the system itself. You can see that over at we're boothing right now if you've not walked past us. But we have the Vectrex out, and yeah, it's completely folds back into itself, so that's great. So controller part of the system goes into itself. We saw that actually a little bit ago too. These fold in. Oh, I didn't show the system. They fold into the system itself too. Same with the Fairchild Channel F. It has a little component for the back, so that's pretty common at the time. We have these screen overlays. The screen overlays in particular for this one, I like to point out, my resolution's not very good, but it tells you what each button does on the overlay. So that's kind of like they snuck the manual, or at least a little bit of it, onto these overlays. This is sometimes considered the most like overdone extreme controller. It's really awesome. I bet dual wielding these like transcends you to another level of control. We see some more overlays. Definitely, they're talking about how it's going to be great for sports games. Has an adjustable grip. You can take the grips on and off, so that piece goes. Very cool. I also love the color scheme. I don't know, like let's bring back the 80s like muted rainbow. So the Famicom, really cool stuff. There's a microphone on this controller. Legend of Zelda, you know the bunnies. Break them. And yeah, we didn't get that in the North American release. But we also have the 3D system. This would be 5 years later, but or 4 years later. But we have it out on the floor, so definitely check it out. We have 3D Hot Rally. Yeah, early 3D Nintendo, really great. What's my time? Oh, I'm doing great. Okay, so Nintendo Entertainment Zapper. We all love the Zapper. I can take a quick moment on this. So gray, orange. What happened? Does anybody know? Yeah, who wants?
The gray looked too much like an actual gun.
Correct, yes. The U.S. government was like, hey, all toy guns need to stop looking like guns. If you harken back to the Magnavox Odyssey shooting gun, it looks like a gun. Accessories also get a brief mention here. Lots of crazy, weird add-on accessories for all sorts of things by this point. Yeah, but adding the scope to your scope on the, I don't know how much utility that would actually bring. We have the Light Phaser, Sega Master System. This was not released in Japan, probably because they don't like guns as much as us. The Zapper was. Duck Hunt was a really popular game, but that's kind of like, because it's a Zapper, and it's friendly, and but yeah, no phaser. This was incredibly popular in Brazil. Boy, do I love the like Master System grid design. Sega knew what they were doing. Okay, so Nintendo Entertainment System D-pad, and I also am going to mention the Advanced Video System that was never released here. They did get something more or less like it in Japan, though, but people put stickers on them too. I have this fun one that we have in our collection. But the D-pad, really awesome. Gives a feel for where you're actually pressing. If you just put an array of 4 buttons there, cough, cough, the Joy-Con, you might not know exactly which one you're pressing if you get off tilt. Joy-Con's small enough so you can kind of know where you are, and then it does give that utility of the side. But the D-pad, great information about the D-pad and its history stuff. Patenting was totally different back then because they didn't actually patent the D-pad until 1987 along with the Game Boy. My dates might be a tiny bit off there, but and yet they also invented the D-pad beforehand for the Game & Watch for Donkey Kong. That's when I guess the idea came along, so that there was 2 screens on that Game & Watch. And so the upper screen, you might like lose track of where your fingers are because you can't see them. But yeah, this actually really is a big change from how people were playing. Whoops, I went forward instead of backwards. We're seeing a lot of like control from the right side, from the right hand. Vectrex actually is from the left hand there. But yeah, the D-pad really switches everybody over to the left. At least my feeling on there. Advanced Video System. So. The NES in Japan, of course, was marketed as the family computer because it was a family computer that didn't quite fly. Lots of other computer competition, but there was plans for accessories to really like peripherals to make the NES into a computer, and I think they look really cool. They still have that kind of like rebranding for America that was supposed to be really cool in the '85. Sega Master System. See, this one has a little like tiny joystick. But yeah, we have one of these out. We have Alex Kidd in Miracle World, so you can check it out. We don't have this one. We have that one there. But yeah, Master System controller, really light, even lighter than the D-pad, than the NES controller. So we have the NES 4-score. This will be a multi-tap. We see a few different multi-taps. I think I only have a few slides for them. I have the PlayStation 2 multi-tap too if you want to like see that. That one's particularly interesting. I'll come back to it. Adds turbo buttons to things too, which is kind of interesting. Nintendo seemed to like to do that with these accessories. 4-player NES games. I think Bomberman is the one that comes to mind for me. NES Advantage, here we go with more turbo. You can actually adjust the rate of the turbo, which is pretty cool on this one as well. That's what the knobs above the turbo buttons are for. And slow mode just presses pause a bunch, right? Because that slows the game down. Depending on how pause works, your mileage may vary. Yeah. NES Advantage is pretty interesting because it's like people might have at the time been interested in, oh hey, where's the joystick for this? And so the premium was to like bring back the joystick for folks. And then if that wasn't for you, then at least the other features, the turbo and stuff, perhaps were the draw. The Family Trainer, as marketed in Japan, and the Power Pad, because we have much more extreme names over here in North America, by Bandai, was pretty interesting. I don't know why we haven't seen this again, because soft pads are pretty cool. They are somewhat quality. I love Dance Dance Revolution. We'll get to that one in a bit. But this power pad has 2 sides, and that way you could play 2 different variations by flipping it. Yeah, where's that? But pretty cool. And fitness games, we're getting our body in the game. Really like that. Oh, I just forgot one. So I'm going to mention it since I don't have a slide. We're going to have this slide up. But Sega would do a infrared sensing one that would be screwed up by ceiling fans. The control pad for the Sega Genesis, we're seeing some grips now. A little bit better on the hands than, let's say, the Sharp NES controller there. Nintendo's quick to also realize that that's a good idea. We got the Cycloid, which is still just a D-pad. It looks like it might be an analog stick, though, right? But it's not. But it's pretty cool. We have one of those for you to check out, too. We don't have this guy, but it's pretty interesting. It's voice activated, so you go fire. And if you like seeing adults wear things made for children, YouTube has so many people trying this, and it's a child's toy, right? So it's pretty funny. doesn't fit their head. But yeah, it's voice-activated Super Scope, so you could play like Duck Hunt or Gumshoe. We have Gumshoe on display out, and you fire. So pretty interesting. He looks like he's having a blast. I guess I should point there, but my controller here. So we have the Cheetah Annihilator. This one gets the honorable mention because of its name, and also because of the Commodore 64 GS later release as a game system for the Commodore 64. Pretty interesting picture there. And yeah, I don't know why I have that guy up there. Oh, it's just, yeah, I made another slide for that, because that's the 1311. So ignore that guy there. But yeah, Cheetah Annihilator. People were really concerned about how precision in that. So you see those things jumping into the names. Super Famicom. I love the button color scheme that they got over in Japan, especially because when I saw that on a spin-off controller, I was thinking of Star Road or the Special Zone in Super Mario World. It shows those colors, but then on the North America controller for the Nintendo Entertainment System, we have the purple, right? So yeah, a lot of localizations actually have to take out what were, I think, very visual, hey, you're pressing the B button, it's yellow. For the SNES, a notable one, I really love Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. That one, it's beautiful in the Japanese version because all of the buttons are color-coded like that. They have to kind of mute it down to the purples. Does look cool, though. It definitely fits that sleek feel as we're moving into the 90s. Things are becoming slightly more curved, right? Still boxy, but getting curved. We got the NES Control Deck. This is a 1993 re-release of the Nintendo Entertainment System. It had this dog bone style controller. Definitely nice on the hands, and definitely loading the games into the system was a lot better. Maybe produced less blowing into the cartridges. We got the Power Glove. This is a fan favorite. We have the Power Glove. Feel free to take a photo with it. Just try not to mess with the elastic. It's totally kind of messed up, but really cool. Check out the buttons and stuff. We don't have the sensor bar for it, but yeah, it did require the sensor bar, and it has a very, very big disclaimer of it might not improve your gameplay as much as the guy in The Wizard. So here he is, having a great time. But yeah, very interesting controller. A lot of folks seem to think this was made by Nintendo. It wasn't, but still, this promise of the future, I think, is something to think about. We see a lot of controls that are kind of ahead of their time. Now we have hand controls for VR, but what are we asking for with hand control, right? Are we going to get it from a controller, or are we going to get it from technology that tracks our hands, right? Atari Jaguar. It's 1993. Do you know where your controller overlays are? Atari does. They're right here. Really interesting system. Do the math. 64 bits. It has a numpad still, though, and the controller's pretty bulky. Big controllers can feel good to some people's hands, but bad to others. We'll see that kind of argument come up again soon. But yeah, really, really interesting controller. And overlays are awesome, but again, you lose them and then it's over. So, Sega Genesis Model 2 has 6 buttons. This is like a requirement for fighting games. It'll make your play either possible if you need 4 buttons, or much better because the traditional arcade layout is the 6 buttons next to it, and so you can actually get a match there. The AppMark controller for the Apple Pippin. I couldn't help myself and stylize the Pippin the way that they did too, with the exclamation mark. We see the trackball again. I love the trackball. Also, I love those colors, but that's my bias. But yeah, this thing, it's like a boomerang there. Apple Pippin, didn't do as well as they hoped. Sony PlayStation, we see really simple controller. We see the D-pad again, but with the Sony Flip, they've changed the way it works so that Nintendo's patent doesn't affect them. We see that on all the other ones too, but I think it's incredibly flipped if you look at the mechanicals for the Sony one though. But yeah, pretty basic controller. Played Crash Bandicoot with it. We would see analog sticks added as well, and you can toggle them on and off. I don't think I have a slide for that, but we do have the one, and I'll talk about the PS1 one here soon too. N64 controller, we have an analog stick. I was very tempted to put the picture of the 3 hands on the controller on this slide, so just imagine it in your head. We can all do it together with the N64 controller. But yeah, what's the third thing for? A lot of people say that, but Nintendo, I think, was thinking you would hold the sides like a normal controller for 2D games, and then for 3D games you'd get your grip on it how you wanted. The Z button on the back, not featured, but you can check it out. We have the N64 controller, of course. They also, MAG has a bunch of them because you can play all the console games. But yeah, lots of different colors. Seeing, really that kind of pops. This era, like, everything's popping in colors, though. So this thing is just really weird, right? So Space Orb, maybe that's gonna help you control in some way. And I don't know if anybody else was like kind of like keeping the pulse around this time, but you're like, whoa, is that what future controllers look like? No, didn't catch on. And what's L1 and L2 doing on the right side of a controller on the face? Anyway, they obviously can't go on the L side anymore. So, game.com, woo! Tiger, touchscreen, woo! And it's on a portable. We've seen touchscreens in other areas, but this is the first really notable gaming touch control that I was thinking of. Also, I'm going to give a shout out to Lights Out. Nobody knows what Lights Out is, so I'm going to get a whole room to know what Lights Out is. It's the game where you press one and then the surrounding tiles turn off, and you got to make them all go out. So cool. Anyway, that's just a personal shout out to Lights Out. Miracle Piano Teaching System. We have this one out on display too, so go learn some piano here at MAG, or go play some piano. This was really cool because it's on a bunch of different systems. They all use this fully operational MIDI keyboard through like a SCSI out to whatever system you need. That's sending that, and then it's playing with MIDI control, so it's sending MIDI data. It also has MIDI in and out, so really, really interesting. We have it for the NES and the Super Nintendo, so whichever one you like to play it on, just let me know. Dance Dance Revolution, woo! I gotta do some steps, woo! I love Dance Dance Revolution. We were seeing it in the arcade in 1998. This is the only GIF I think I put in here, but that's because I'm incredibly biased towards Dance Dance Revolution. Oh my gosh, Arcade Saru, or Game Saru, there we go. Yeah, Game Saru is amazing. So go check out all the rhythm games there. I could have put a billion slides in there talking about the stuff they have over there, but you can play them there, so woo! Guitar Freaks, and of course, Guitar Hero Harmonix. We're seeing guitar controllers. I did a little bit of gap there because we've seen guitar controllers. Notable mention to later trying to get rid of the guitar controllers and making extravagant commercials about throwing them into pits and stuff because Rocksmith is coming out, where they plugged into your electric guitar and let you use a real guitar. There's a difference between learning and games. There's also a difference between gamification and game-based learning, which I learned at a panel yesterday, which is great. So the VMU and the Dreamcast controller, really interesting. We see the controller cord coming from the bottom and able to plug in to the top there. The VMU has a screen on it, lets you go. We got this Tamagotchi craze happening. So you have your memory here, and they plug into each other. Oh man, I should have had a picture of them docking together. It's really a beautiful thing. The VMUs, they plug into each other. You can trade your memory. You can make your chows talk. We got Samba de Amigo maracas. We got a dance pad. This is an arcade game that was, popular enough that, hey, want to bring it home for the Dreamcast. Also, Sega is, trying to get as many games on the Dreamcast because they're like, nobody else is making games for it. So really awesome. I have the maracas, so you can get a good feel of how that would be. Don't have the gamepad out here, though, but maracas for shaking. They're a little off color. So we have the PS1 remake consoles. I already mentioned the Nintendo top loader here, but when PlayStation did this, also fun peripheral, I didn't mention the screen. The screen for the PS1 is also really cool. But we see what were the late PlayStation controllers. There's the toggleable analog sticks. Analog sticks at the bottom. That's good stuff. That's what we find on a lot of stuff now, a lot of Sony stuff. So Game Boy Color. IR, really neat. Gold and silver is where I use this most for Mystery Gift. There's also the ability to control your television from Mission Impossible. Really cool stuff. Also, we got the Tamagotchi craze, and Pikachu has a pedometer, so now your game control is your steps, right? So I'm sure there's an example earlier than this, but this is passive gaming. I really love this idea of passive gaming, right? Like you're like, oh yeah, my steps are being tracked, and later you check in on your stats. Really cool. We have the Nintendo 64 transfer pack. So the transfer pack, like I had mentioned briefly before I started talking, had a lot more games than just Pokemon, but Pokemon Stadium was the real winner for me, at least in my personal experience. Mario Golf also, because you could bring in your characters that you worked so hard in. One was like an RPG, one was like a tournament game. Really, really cool. This idea is awesome, and we'd seen Nintendo do a little bit more of it. I don't have slides for them, but we have the Game Boy Advance connector for the GameCube, and Crystal Chronicles, Pac-Man Versus, the Sonic Chow Garden, which is like the echo of the VMU. Lots of really good stuff. If you want to nerd out about portable gaming connection and that collision, definitely talk to me. I love that stuff. The N64 biosensor. So this one I was saying, surprisingly for a lot of games, right? This one, on the other hand, though, one game, Japan Tetris 64. Keeps track of your heart rate goes up, Tetris gets harder. Sounds pretty great. I definitely want to bring that out. So hopefully next year, someone remind me. Nintendo GameCube, woo, it's got a handle. So do the Vextrex. We have the Vextrex out. It doesn't have a slide, but love the GameCube handle. Woo, GameCube controller, incredibly beloved controller here. We've seen the C buttons from the N64 now turn into the C stick. Use it in Smash. People are like, you're a noob. Yeah. Great controller. Weird layout in a way, but it really works. Again, beloved. I fall into that. I like this thing. It's kind of weird, though. Z on the top. Why is there no Z2? Later we get that. So the Panasonic Q. This one had to have a slide because, like, I really need to just give this to the Computer History Museum because they have a Panasonic Q and we don't. But they don't have the Panasonic controller, and we do. So I need to be like, hey, CHM, let me finish your exhibit. Their exhibit's awesome. By the way, they had a video game thing, and they also have it's always part of theirs. They talk about like Warcraft and PC gaming and its effect. But yeah, the Panasonic Q, quick note on that. Panasonic was partnered with Nintendo at this time, and so part of their deal was that they got to make the old exclusive DVD playing, even though it's mini DVDs. So GameCube could have played DVDs, but it doesn't because Panasonic got the Q, and this would be your DVD playing GameCube. Looks really hyper 2000, right? Like this is what the future looked like in 2000. You had it right then. The Xbox controller, the Duke, featured on the right here. My stage right. Stage left. And the Xbox controller S. It turns out if you have a really, really big controller, you might need to re-release it to be smaller if it's just ridiculously big. Definitely was a talking point of amusement for me as a Nintendo fanboy when the Xbox controller was so ginormous, right? I got pretty big hands though, and it actually feels pretty good. I actually prefer the Duke over the S, but personal preference. And yeah, the controllers kind of don't ever get that big again for Xbox. We have the Wavebird come out. We're seeing wireless control. The Wavebird's really awesome. I don't know if anybody saw the commercial, but he's playing his neighbor's TV. Great. Had to see if that worked as a kid. Totally does. Got over to my neighbor's yard. We're like, yeah, I never saw this bag though, so when I was looking this up, I was like, whoa, when did it ever come in this cool velvet bag? I would have kept that forever. But yeah, cut the cord. Has lots of different channels, so you can actually have your full. I think it has 16. We can check, but I think it has 16, so that you can have 4 GameCubes with 4 controllers for the broadband connector for things like Double Dash, and then everybody's on Wavebirds. That would be very expensive nowadays, but would be just glorious to see. Xbox has a cordless one. I brought this one out because I just saw it and I was like, wow, this is very specifically a Logitech like PC compatible controller that is an Xbox controller because it has the white and black button, right? And it also has an accessory. It does work on the PC. It has its accessory so you can actually use the remaining features of an Xbox controller. So I thought it was an interesting one. So I tossed it in the box. The PlayStation 2 multi-tap. This one's interesting because everybody can bring their memory card. Not many multi-taps consider that. PlayStation, of course, does. They have their boomerang. I should have featured that one as well. It's like the great PlayStation boomerang multi-tap. Nintendo Wii, we got motion control. I was the second person in Texas to get a Wii. I was on the news. I loved it. I waited for, I think, 37 hours or something. The other person waited for like 40. No. Nunchuck's really interesting. I was super hopeful for Red Steel. Didn't quite get the dream, but I was really surprised with how much everybody else around me picked up Wii Sports. I don't know, because I was like ready for Red Steel and like parrying and kind of playing this sword combat that the motion controls are just, no, it's swing, right? And then, Wii Sports, my grandparents are playing, my parents are playing. It's awesome. My Wii, super sidebar, my Wii didn't work for wireless control, or I'm sorry, wireless can network, like Wi-Fi. It was broken on my Wii, and I waited 36 hours for this thing. So Nintendo's like, don't worry, send it to us, we'll send you a new one. I was like, no, you send me another Wii. I waited 36 hours, here's my news channel report. So they sent me another Wii. So for a glorious 30 days before I had to ship the other one back, I had 2 Wiis when they were impossible to find. But one couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi, but that was the Wii Sports one for my parents downstairs. So, and then I had a little bit of disappointment with the Wii until Mario Galaxy came out, and then I was just like, wow, this thing is so good. The Zapper came out in 200. Thank you for the slide. Ancient times. No, thank you though. My lovely partner. The Wii Zapper, Wii crossbow training. Do not try to play this with any latency. It's not a good time. But I had a visitor story for the museum. Someone came in and they're like, "Do you have crossbow training?" I was like, "Of course I have crossbow training." He's like, "Link's crossbow." I was like, "No, we're on the same page. Let me get it for you." So we hook it together, we get it, and he plays it again. And he's like, "Yes, I remember this." And he's just comboing, and I'm like, "Wow, are you like a marksman or something?" He's like, "No, I've shot a gun once in my life, and it was after I played a bunch." He only had this game pretty much for his Wii, and so he, gold medaled everything in the game. And then he goes out to shoot like clay pigeons, because he's like, "I'll try it out." Shoots 3 just like dead out of the air. Everybody's super like excited, and he's like, "I'm not shooting real guns anymore." But so yeah, and yeah, we all know the rumors and truths of the military training through video game control, right? We're learning something when we do this kind of stuff. What's up?
I actually used the simulators from the Army.
Yeah.
One of them was basically a zapper inside the guts of an M16A1.
Whoa.
And
Like with the full weight, so you're like ready to go?
well, but there was no recoil.
Okay.
But here's the great thing: there is a special cartridge for the Super Nintendo called the Max BRM simulator cartridge. It's one of the hardest cartridges to get.
And it's just.
And it's a Super Nintendo.
So it's the Super Scope. So I don't have a slide for it, but the Super Scope actually takes the technology to another level, because instead of using the scan on the TV like the Zapper does, it has its own module, and you can calibrate it and everything. Yoshi's Safari, we should bring that one out. It's at the museum if you come. It's totally a fever dream. You're Mario on the back of Yoshi with the yeah. But you got to tell me the name of that cartridge so I can look it up, because that's really wild.
I'll talk to you.
Sounds great. But yeah, gun games. And they're way earlier than the Zapper, of course, and training in them. So Nintendo Wii had to, I didn't update the slide. This is the Wii Motion Plus. Wii Motion Plus, to kind of try to aid the problem that I was having, which is it's not really getting the precision. They added another accelerometer. Excuse me, I think they added another gyroscope. And then Skyward Sword, a bunch of other games, Wii Sports Resort, utilize this because it adds some more precision. It doesn't particularly help one of the pain points, which is the sensor bar like pointing at the screen on the main menu. But Classic Controller Pro, people like the classics, right? We'll see a lot of this kind of reoccurring. Also, hey, Nintendo, that's like a pretty Sony move. Right there. The Poke Walker. Poke Walker is the revitalization of the Pikachu Walker. I totally forgot its name. Pal Pikachu. And it came with the game, so everybody had these. And Mystery Gift, the IR thing from the Game Boy that nobody understood, that I was like super duper into. Oh, why I was so into that is because your room in Gold and Silver, you can deck it out and it looks really cool. You get to see it in 3D if you put your Gold and Silver game into Pokemon Stadium 2. Like your whole room, it's incredible. So yeah, you can do your Mystery Gift. You can walk around. You can put more than just Pikachu on there. You can put whatever Pokemon from the game. Really cool. Of course, people hacking around, having Mew on there and stuff. Which is actually kind of important, because later we get another Nintendo accessory that just comes with them. PlayStation Move. PlayStation Move, obviously not to be left behind. We have Sony with a more accurate motion control. Same novelties, sports, a little more accuracy, a little more of that sleekness that Sony brings. Love the colors, but yeah, didn't catch on too much. Connect, really, really cool. I think this is like the hacks you can do with this thing are incredible. it can do so much. But yeah, it really didn't get the love it deserved. And there's the other models of it as well. But yeah, Connect, LiDAR, we're detecting people using the cameras, has depth. Yeah, you are the controller yourself. After a while, you kind of realize, actually, there's something about like kind of not doing the motions. But we got more people active. Yeah, I kind of want to see the new wave of this. Random one, right? Whims of fancy.
Oh, yes.
I love Lego. We got the Lego Wiimote. Oh, also Wiimote is not the official name, but it should be. They are called Nintendo Wii remotes. VR headsets. So there are a lot of VR headsets. So I didn't go through all of them. I just have a tiny little image of one, and the one that really kind of started the wave of people being able to actually develop for it. The Oculus Dev Kit. Seeing a lot of Kickstarter around this era. Things are getting funded that are really going to change the way controls go, because companies want to make money where projects want to be funded because there's like a need there. And so yeah, crowdfunding, for better or worse, especially during this era, this is the funding vaporwave era too. We see just like a lot of things people want to come to be. And one of those things is head-mounted virtual reality. Also notable, I think, is the Quest, because it's at least slightly more performant and doesn't have to be plugged into the television. But they were not the first to try and do something like that. Whoops, where is it? I'm going to jump ahead. Google Cardboard really tried to get people into VR by saying, hey, your phone is ready for this. We're going to send you a piece of cardboard in the mail. Unfold it. You can play all these different fun games. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is incredible. Like, play it today. I don't care if you even play it in VR. It's particularly fun in VR. It's particularly fun, too, if you print out the manual. This kind of by augmentation of something that's important. Actually, I'm going to go back, but also kind of shout out to games that make you do weird things. Metal Gear Solid, making you read stuff off the box, change the controls. This kind of way of like abstracting what it is to actually interact with the system and the controls itself is really, really incredible, and shows that there's so many ways to approach the medium. We have VR treadmills, also early use in military. Did you get to play around with any of that? No. So yeah, and we're also seeing private sector stuff that's not wanting to release their technology stuff. Disney has a really crazy floor. I can't remember what it's like, holodeck floor. But yeah, we see this so that you can actually run around in virtual reality. We have Omni and Cat VR that have been kind of making strides, sorry for the really bad pun, since 2013 on this. Oh yeah, this is a great example of this time period. So it's the indie revolution, and it still is. It's never gonna stop, we'll just keep spinning. But the oh yeah is promising you can make Android games for this console, right? So we've abstracted the idea of console, right? We're probably not gonna say they're Android games, but they are. But yeah, the Ouya controller, it has a really good heft to it. Anyway, we have one. You can feel it out, check it out. But yeah, oh yeah. Didn't quite work out. Shout out to Towerfall, great game. It's on PlayStation now, of course. Yeah, you gotta have exclusives. There's the whole lesson of software there, but all right, I got a little bit of time. I want to get to Q&A. So the quad stick, woo! Okay, we're talking about successful Kickstarter. So I'm quadriplegic, and I'm not. I mean, but like if I am, I'm like doing a thought experiment. I want to play games. I see people play games. What the heck? The quad stick enables this. Funded really well, and now it's compatible with these modern accessibility controllers. We'll get to some of them. Awesome. Everybody should be able to play, right? We're seeing this on the software side too, but I think this is a really notable time mark in the history for accessibility.
Wait, can you go back?
Yeah, sure.
What am I looking at?
You're looking at a mouse controller for someone that can only control their face. So they are like blowing in the hole, they're using their lips to move things. And this is customizable. You could buy different pieces for it. And now, actually, I'll get more back to it in a moment. But yeah, this is for your mouth. So you put this on your chair or on your bed or wherever you're doing, then you're able to play games. And you have to map them. And the mapping software would be the kind of the issue there too. But this would let you control a computer, really whatever you wanted. You could map everything that way. You'd have to have that middleware at this time, though, where I'm going to jump to the end. By the time these adaptive controllers come out, you can directly go to the controllers. I'll talk more about them in a second. So Google Cardboard, we weren't there. Pokemon Go Plus, hey, Pokemon's back. Pokemon's back and we're running around, and part of our control is where we actually are. Our data is a controller. Woo! But if you're too lazy to open up your phone, go ahead and just wear this little thing on your wrist that identifies you as a total awesome person. And press the button. Problem with this, you will have no Pokeballs. Your item bag will be full. You will be making microtransactions. I loved to hate this thing. Labo, more cardboard. Labo is incredible. My goodness, I wish Labo was cheaper. I would build one every day. I also, Lego Labo. Love building stuff. Xbox adaptive controller. Yay, Microsoft for being like a first here, but that's because people were already using the PC to be the middleware for the consoles for this stuff, and so it's kind of an obvious move there, but awesome. And it has these very customizable ports. You can make it do whatever is kind of their promise. It's of course compatible with all of the peripherals you could ever imagine, foot pedals, cameras and things. It can help get all of your inputs into the Xbox however you need. Also, it's a very large pad too, so you can just adjust the way games are played. At this time, also certain Xbox exclusives, which aren't really Xbox exclusives because then they go on the PC, right? They have control schemes that are like ready for accessibility here, or like super customizable. I will have a shout out actually to I'll talk about it soon because it's not related to Microsoft. So Pokeball Plus, woo! This one comes with Mew. You don't want another Pokeball? Yes, you do. It has Mew. Cool. It works not just for Pokemon Go, but for Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu. And you can like throw it, and it's on your wrist, and so it goes whoop, whaps back in your face. Common for me. I love the yo-yo, so love that thing. It has a little stick on it, which is great, so you can kind of control the very easy to play Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu just with this Pokeball, which actually feels really good. Unless you like the turn-based battle stuff a little more than Pokemon Let's Go. But yeah. Woo, Ring Fit. Woo,
yeah.
woo. Arts hold. If you've not played Ring Fit, it's awesome. Definitely give it a try. Uses the same engine as Breath of the Wild, so really fun thing there. Like I said, if I had paused Ring Fit before this, it'd go beep boop beep boop beep boop beep boop. And I try to keep my Ring Fit in this mode when my Switch is not on, because then you can like get the satisfaction little micro exercise in there. Is it really helping me? You tell me. I want one of these, and so I gave them an honorable mention because I don't need one, but I want one. And then anyway, they're now finally USB-C. Thank you, Europe, making Apple give us USB-C. But yeah, so you can just plug in a controller now and play a lot of things. But what if you want the controller to like be your phone case? We got that for you, right? And Razer did it a month before Backbone. Backbone just appears out of nowhere, I guess. I don't know. I don't know the history behind that, but I think it's pretty interesting that the release is so close there. Okay, and then the PS5 Access controller. I was going to mention Sony is making their own moves along with different developers for accessibility. And one thing that I saw recently that's pretty cool is Horizon, I think it's Zero Dawn, it's Forbidden West, it's that one. Lets you have just two controllers playing as the same player, right? So we're going around and someone's doing the narrative, and then, oh, we're into a battle. We don't have to like swap controllers. I can just be like, okay, it's my turn to do the battle. So you can like play multiplayer a single game. Really like that concept, and it lets gaming be shared in this new way, and I love sharing gaming. But yeah, look at that thing. It's very modular, very weird, very, very interesting. I think perhaps I like the Microsoft one more. Totally my opinion, just the way they look. So that was the blast through all the controllers. So now we're gonna get to touch stuff because we only have 14 minutes left, and I want to have some time for questions. And I also want to talk about the MAID just for a brief second. So we are MAID, Museum of Art and Digital Entertainment. We're in Oakland at 10th and Washington Street. We have an awesome community. We do a showcase where everybody can show off their games or their digital creations or really whatever they want to. Sky's the limit there. Just let me know what you want to show. It has to be somewhat appropriate. But Then we do tournaments. We have classes every Saturday for ages 8 to 13, free of charge. We teach a lot of different subjects, character design, animation, peripherals, programming, audio and games, game critique, just a bunch of great stuff. Oh, Steel Battalion's got to get a shout out. Steel Battalion has an incredible controller. We have a full Steel Battalion setup. Capcom got asked by Microsoft to make a game. Capcom said, sure, we'll make a game. And they made a controller and pedal set that was almost as expensive as your Xbox, so you could fly around in these VTs, which are like Pacific Rim style mechs. Very cool stuff. We also have the Virtual Boy over at our table. It has 2 D-pads. Sorry, I'm seeing things on the pictures, and I'm like, I didn't talk about that. Oh my goodness! But you see how expansive it is, and we won't have time. So yeah, we have makers and modders. Playable preservation is our focus. So you might be like, what's playable preservation? Does anybody know what playable preservation is? I'd love to hear somebody's definition of hearing it. No? Yeah. Yeah. What do you think it is?
When instead of hoarding your consoles, you actually share them. And
I love that definition. Yeah, that's so good. So yeah, playable preservation is exactly that. It is incredibly important to archive and to do what Henry Lowood, Video Game History Foundation, Strong Museum of Play, like everybody does. But on the other side, we want everything to be playable, and so we want to work with our communities and other organizations to kind of figure out how we can continue to play games from the very beginning today, including the MAGWest Odyssey. We're working with the University of Pittsburgh with a project called Odyssey Now to try to get the Odyssey even more accessible, always in our museum, make kits so you can make your own Odyssey. And that's 1972. That's pretty much the very beginning there. Brown box and maybe, doing these hardware hacks for making the older controllers, which there's some fun guides there too. But yeah, playable preservation is really awesome, and I think a lot of folks, especially here, agree it's fun to play the games. We wouldn't have a 24-hour console room at our convention if we didn't love that stuff. So I always like to end my presentations with a GIF from Super Mario 3D World, where the flagpole just starts to run away from you. Because what were we really looking for here? We were looking for an understanding of controllers through history and how they've changed and where they might be going. And we don't know where they're going, but they're going away. And yeah, VR, we were seeing VR back in the 80s, and it's not here yet, so are we going to keep chasing? Will we finally get the flagpole for certain technologies that we want to see? Will we get another Nintendo biosensor, right? It was the third pillar. Where is it? But yeah, so I'll open the floor for questions, and thank you, everyone. This is not possible without everyone. I really do mean that. So. Yeah. Oh, hi. My name is Mason Young. I'm the director at the Museum of Art and Digital Entertainment. I love games. And I make games. And music and, music and games. Anybody? Yeah, hey.
Fun fact, if your infrared bar that you put on a TV for your Wii is broken, you can use 2 candles.
Yes, that's incredible. Yeah. We should, that sounds like a really fun like STEM activity for a class.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
it's just the infrared light. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I want to write a reminder for that. Yeah, okay, cool. My assistant there. Thank you. Anybody else? Comments? Fun facts are also really, really welcome. This isn't just questions. Questions or share fun facts.
Speaking of faking out your the IR bar with the MAGFest Odyssey light gun, the one that the
Yeah. Oh, into the light bulb?
you could shoot it into a light bulb.
Yes, Nintendo would fix this by putting a completely dark screen up, and then it goes, nope. Okay, we're not a lamp bulb. Yeah. Yeah.
One that actually a friend of mine just wanted to make sure got mentioned is that you could play Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast using the fishing rod controller.
Yes, the fishing rod. Okay, so the fishing rod, I was freaking out about the fishing rod with, I don't know who I was talking to, but I was like, there's one next to Samba de Amigo at the museum, and in my rush, I didn't grab it. Mainly because it's in its own box, and so I didn't think, like, yeah, let's bring the whole box. But, and then I saw another hand. Yeah.
If you were to introduce the most interesting and bizarre controller to a 12-year-old, what would it be?
The most interesting and bizarre controller to a 12-year-old. I am going to go with what they might have already seen, but I would show, well, interesting DDR, because if they haven't played it, it's like really something incredible to jump into playing with your feet. This is a game where you move your feet. That's super biased. But then like for Bizarre to like try to like really throw them off, now it would show them the weird Sony orb controller thing. I think the Jaguar though, just because it has these it's out of its own time, right? And we have one on the floor, so we could play Tempest 2000 on it, and I could say, hey, look, this is them. This is like not adjusting course to what people want, but it's still like usable. Like, how do you feel about this? And yeah, it has this number pad on it, right? I think that would be really foreign at the time. Like in the 90s, no, we had all our calculators and our phones and the big dial things all had that. But nowadays, it'd just be bizarre. So, yeah.
Never mind.
Never mind? Okay. Maybe later.
Yeah.
I saw another hand.
So I just looked this up, but according to the Guinness World Record,
Yeah?
there's 113 different buttons representing every possible.
113?
Yes, representing every possible position on a 17-fret guitar. The wireless Fender Mustang Pro guitar controller from Rock Band Group has more individual features than any peripheral in console history.
Oh, wow. So the Guitar Hero chording one, right?
The one with all of them.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. 113. That's really cool. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. That one also, I think that's a great one too for like, Rocksmith. It's trying to be in the middle between Rocksmith, a real guitar, and the game, but then it becomes very niche, right? And someone's like, well, this isn't just 3-button easy Guitar Hero. So, okay. So I am going to say let's play with some controllers while we set up for the next part of our presentation, which in the next hour we're going to be doing some N64 controller repair and then kind of maybe dabble into some other stuff. But yeah, thank you so much.